Do all of your text conversations come crashing to an end with this? Well, if that's the case, then you need to watch this video all the way through to the end, because today I'm telling you guys 10 texting mistakes that are making you way less attractive. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. It's Maverick here. I hope you all are having an awesome day so far. If you like what you see here, I'd really appreciate it if you pull out your phone and follow me on Instagram at MVRK. I put a lot of really cool stuff on there you won't find anywhere else. But without further ado, let's not waste any time and get into number one, and that is texting just like everyone else. If you're texting the same way that everybody else is texting her, how can you expect any different kind of result? So if you're sending out texts like, hey cutie, how's your day going? Those are just gonna get lost in her messages because she's got 100 of those sitting in her messages right now. I promise you that. If you want her to smile when she sees that you texted her, try to mix it up a little bit, even if it's just a little bit. Say something like, what kind of trouble are you getting into today, instead of what are you doing? Or say something like, I saw such and such and it reminded me of you. And just have fun with it, mix it up, and you can even tease her a bit. Just say something a little bit off kilter that will kind of spike her emotion. And this is a little risky, and that brings us to the texting mistake number two, not taking any risks. Like I said, girls are responsive when you spike their emotions, when you give them a little bit of push and pull. So if you can call her out on some things, tease her a little bit, not be too serious, she's definitely gonna appreciate that and be excited to get your text and be excited to text you back to see what you're gonna say next. So if there's a text that you're not really sure if you should send, then you should probably just fire it off and see what happens and take that risk, because you might surprise yourself and you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, but as long as they're not anything too inappropriate. And that's mistake number three, being too inappropriate. Guys have this funny way of, whenever they're horny, they think that a girl is just as horny as he is, when that's not necessarily the case. So you'll see guys, you know, trying to sext a girl or sending her shirtless pictures or dick pics or things like this, assuming that she's in the mood just because they are, but it's actually probable that she's not. So don't do that. You shouldn't be sending off sext messages to a girl out of the blue. If you ever do that, make sure it's something that she initiated, or you felt like that very, very strong flirtatious vibe before you do that. So just keep it light, keep it cool, poke some fun at her, keep this exciting flirtatious vibe, and don't be that weird, inappropriate creep. All right, Kristen, where are we going?
We're gonna go to our rooftop.
And what are we doing there?
We're gonna make some content because we are hardworking, motivated individuals, and we have really big dreams that we want to achieve, so it's time to put in the work.
Wow, that was beautiful.
Thank you. Cheers.
All right, imagine this. You meet a beautiful woman and you get her number. Awesome. But instead of just getting her on a date, you're texting her all day long just to pass the time, until eventually her texts get a little bit further and further apart, and then you stop hearing from her. Well, that's because you're texting her too much. So you shouldn't text girls too much, because it kind of indicates that you're just looking for a pen pal, and maybe you're a little bit shy to go on a date, and they're gonna think that you're not serious. You're just a little texting buddy. Last thing you want to be is their little texting buddy. So texting should just be used for three things. One, the warm up. That's your initial text, you know, hey, remember me from so and so, and maybe one or two texts back and forth. And then setting up the date. That's the second thing. So setting up the date, getting the details down, actually asking her on the date, and then getting her to agree, and then you say, perfect, I'll see you then, and that's it. And the third thing is anything that just can't wait for the date. So if there's anything that, you know, for whatever reason just can't wait, you have to tell them about, because it's some callback humor or something relative to something you've talked about that just can't wait. You can text them a little bit about that, but then cut it off, and don't just keep talking all day long, because you have to have stuff to talk about when you actually meet up on a date. If you're talking about everything within text, then there's not gonna be anything to talk about on the date, and you're just gonna be sitting there with nothing to say. So only text for those three things. OMG, that's so funny. Laughing face, crying face, sad face, eggplant emoji, laughing face, laughing face, laughing face. Using too many emojis. That's the next mistake. For whatever reason, emojis have this rep as being kind of feminine. I don't know. but they give women the ick. It makes them cringe when guys use too much emojis. For some reason, it's just a bit beta. I know it shouldn't be that way. Theoretically, you should be able to say whatever you want and talk and text however you want. And if you want to, go for it. And that could be kind of an alpha move if it works out for you, but in my experience, it doesn't. So keep the emojis minimal, only when they're absolutely necessary to convey a certain mood or a certain tonality of how you meant something to say. You know, maybe it's the laughing emoji or the smirk emoji if you're being a little bit flirtatious, but keep them few and far between. Don't use too much because it's just kind of weird.
Hey Brett, some dweeb just texted me with a bunch of emojis. What a loser.
Told you, fellas. I don't know about you guys, but when I meet somebody that I like and I get their number or they take my number, I want to talk to them right away. Basically, like right after I talk to them, right? So that's why the next one is a big mistake, and that is waiting too long to text. There's no such thing as a 3-day rule or any of this other BS. If you meet a girl, you should text her the next day, and better yet, tell her right when you get her number, hey, I'm gonna text you tomorrow, so she expects it and she can look out for your call and be excited when she gets your call, and it's no big deal, right? You see, when you wait too long, you actually lose the magic of the moment. Some of those emotions that were kind of sparking during your interaction kind of fade away, and she kind of forgets about you, unfortunately. So if you wait too long, you lose some of that emotion, and it's just not as exciting, and she won't care as much, and you kind of fall to the back of her mind, unfortunately. So don't wait too long. Like I said, when you get her number, tell her right then and there in person, I'm gonna text you tomorrow, and she'll say, okay, great, and you will do it, and it's gonna be awesome.
Hey guys, it's your favorite, Brett and Kristen. Yay! So we're not dating. We are on a rooftop right now, just vibing, making some content, working hard. I'll show you around a little bit.
So I'm sitting here waiting for my Starbucks, and I'm getting pretty anxious. I want my coffee, man, but I gotta relax. And that leads me to my next mistake, and that is getting anxious and texting back instantly. If you want it to seem like you got nothing going on in your life except sitting around waiting for her to text you, then sure, go for it. Text her back right away. But if you want her interest to grow for you, then wait at least 10 to 15 minutes and mix it up, sometimes up to an hour or a couple hours. Let it be known that you have priorities, you have your own life, you have stuff that you need to attend to before you get back to texting her, whether it's work or hobbies or friends or whatever. And I promise you, this will keep her on her toes and her interest will grow. But warning, this should be done to an extent. There is a flip side. You can wait too long. Don't make a girl wait more than 6 hours, because that's kind of just rude and seems like you don't have any interest in her, and she will move on. So between 10 minutes and an hour, that's pretty much the sweet spot. Great, thank you. All right, got my coffee. This coffee is pretty good, but not too good. Can't flatter it too much, and that's the next mistake. Too much flattery. Wow, my transitions are on point today, huh? But anyways, the next mistake is too much flattery, guys. It's no secret that girls like compliments, but when you come off with too many compliments too soon, it just comes off as desperate and needy, and it kind of just makes you seem low value. If you're giving her a ton of compliments right off the bat like this guy, then it kind of just makes it seem like you already put yourself on a plate for her and served yourself to her. Like, she doesn't have to work for you at all. You need to let there be some mystery. Let her wonder, like, what you think about her. Is he into me? Does he still like me? Does he think I'm attractive? But if you come out just telling her how awesome she is and how perfect she is, it's gonna come off as needy and she won't like it.
It's time to stop! It's time to stop, okay? No more!
Flattery.
All right, guys, we're down to the last two, so thanks for sticking in there with me. But in my case, these are the best two, or I guess in this case, the worst two, so don't do them. And the first one is being a sloppy Joe. Being a sloppy Joe texter means you're using incorrect grammar, slang, shortening words, not spelling words right, and it's horrible. It basically just makes you look immature, kind of childish, and uninterested. Like, you can't even check a text before you send it. You wouldn't use like this this half-assed language sending an email or writing a letter, would you? So don't use it in text. Chances are if you've been using it, then it's been working against you. So just take the extra time, read out what you're writing, and then send it. Now, obviously there's a couple, instances where it's okay. You can sometimes use LOL or WTF, but I recommend waiting to see her vibe, how she texts, and you can kind of try and match that as best as you can. But right off the bat, don't be using slang, nice to see you, stuff like that. Don't do it. Write out full words and it's gonna help you a lot. Next one, number 10 and the final one, I say this all the time, is you're not using voice memos. Guys, what are you doing? I say this all the time, using voice memos is like a cheat code, It's a secret potion. You can convey so much more personality, you can build so much more rapport by sending your actual voice, your emotion. You can't translate that through texts. Text is so 2D. A wise man once said that a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, a voice memo is worth 1,000 texts. So I recommend sending a voice memo as the second or third text. Send her, an intro, hey, nice to meet you, blah, 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 or hey, I saw you on my Instagram, blah, blah, blah. Get a response, then hit her with the voice memo. What kind of trouble are you getting into today? Say it in your voice, your words, and your tone. So send a few of these back and forth, and then here's the tactical nuke. Get her on a FaceTime, and a FaceTime is basically your first date. There's nothing different between a FaceTime and a real date except for the screen. So start using voice memos ASAP. That's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't already, subscribe, turn those post notifications on, and until next time, peace.